What up?
What's up?
Ain't nothing. Tired. How are you?
Same. But I'm here. So, praise the Lord, niggas.
Me too, sis. Me too. So tired.
I think that's just going to be a part of my reality from now on.
That's really the reality of this entire show. How was your week?
You know, I got through it.
That's the long and the short of it.
But I'm happy to be here, happy to be back for another episode. Episode 3 of Gettin' Grown with Jade and Keia. A big hey girl hey to all of our listeners, both male and female. Please know that you will be referred to as girl, because that's just how I refer to everything and everybody. But it's not at all intended to be pejorative. So, hey girl hey.
Amen. Well, I guess we can just go ahead and get into it. Might as well.
Hashtag might as well. Forgive me if I sound particularly dry today. I just have to be completely honest with where I am. I'm trying my best. But again, I'm happy to be here to record episode 3. And I want to again thank everyone who has been so super supportive of the show. Everybody who's listened. Week 1 and week 2, you guys have left awesome comments and sent us fabulous tweets and made comments on Instagram and all that, and even emailed and sending your petty peeves and questions. And we really appreciate you checking us out. And we hope that you'll stay tuned every week, every Tuesday. Continue to listen, continue to subscribe, continue to rate, continue to comment. We need all that stuff. So
absolutely.
Thanks again, guys. See, I can't even talk. Thanks again, guys, for all your help. So we will jump right on in here to shout out to my sis.
My sis is popping right now, like.
Shout out to my sis this week. We're going to shout out a sis in my head. So I don't know her personally, but in my head, we're good Judies. I want to give a big shout out to Amber Riley and all of her fantastic fabulousness.
Yes,
not only is, absolutely. Not only is Amber, snatching wigs in the United States of America, in her role on the show Glee, and she played Glinda the Good Witch in Fox's when they redid The Wiz a couple
did an amazing job
last year. Yeah, she did an amazing job. Like, she's literally like every single thing. And not only she decided recently to take her talents across the pond to London, where she is currently starring in Dreamgirls as the one Miss Effie White. So yesterday, I think it was April 9th, 2017. So Sunday, April 9th, 2017, Amber won the 2017 Olivier Award for Best Actress for that role. And I just think that she is so talented in just like all things.
And for context, Olivier is similar to a Tony.
Right. So it's like London's version of the Tony Awards.
Yeah. So
this is a big deal for Miss Amber. And she looks stunning and sickening on the red carpet. And she performed, and I am telling you, complete with the ugly note at the end. And
turn the wigs back.
It's turn the wigs around, girl. How you going to get a Dreamgirls reference wrong?
Because I've only watched it once.
Oh, you're irritating. Anyway.
Jimmy want more. Jimmy want more. Jimmy want.
You're done with your references because you messed it up.
They're alternative references.
No, they're not.
They are. That's what I'm calling them.
You're a Republican. Shut your mouth. as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, Amber looked amazing on the red carpet. She sung And I Am Telling You, complete with the ugly note at the end that we all love. May! She gave us all of that. And she sung those white people up out of their seats. And it just blessed me. So I said, Amber's going to be our shout out to our sis this week because you popping, girl. Shout out to him.
Sis is popping.
Hey, but yeah, shout out to my sis. We love you, Amber. I hope that, I know she listens to the read, so.
She does. And she's such a great representation of a beautiful Black woman doing things, getting them done. So we definitely want to shout out Amber Riley.
Yeah, girl. Only been in London for 5 minutes and snatching everybody's wig. We will continue to speak your name, Amber. Hallelujah. Thank you for being you.
Kitchen table talk.
Hey, sitting around the kitchen table.
Drinking.
Talking bull swanky.
Somebody's playing cards. Somebody's playing, it's a solo game. Because nobody plays solitaire with real cards.
No, we only play on the computer.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway.
I don't know.
Somebody's playing a card game alone, just flipping cards. And
they're building a house. Do people
yes.
Do that? Okay. They're building a house with their cards. Or they're playing solitaire on their phone.
Or they're playing solitaire on their phone. Or spades, like my husband likes to do. So,
on his phone.
On his phone. Mm-hmm.
That's how you practice.
That's exactly what he's doing. Because he was Caribbean. He didn't grow up like we did. And so, therefore, he wants to make sure he's in on the game correctly. I
just don't play because the Blacks it's just not fun for me. But we can talk about that later.
Crystal, Asante, myself, and our friend sat up and played spades until 4:30 in the morning one night.
What are you talking about? And our friend, you act like I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right.
You're irritating. First of all, let me tell y'all about these niggas and how we was at Crystal's house for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And I don't know where we went. Maybe we went, I think.
No, this was after Fury's birthday.
This was after, but that was the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So, we came back from the function. These niggas decided that they was going to play spades. I assumed my rightful place on the couch with the remote in my hand to watch. I don't know what I was watching. You know what it was? That's when Centric had that Amen marathon.
Yes, and you were over there cackling alone.
Ooh, I got my entire life. I watched Amen for 3 days.
Dang doodle on the couch. And we'd be over at the table
by myself.
And all of a sudden in the corner, you hear...
I would be in a full chest cackle. Like it was amazing. It was amazing.
We look over and it was just Keia.
That's right. I don't need no help. I don't need nobody else.
We got to Crystal's house probably like 11:30.
Yes, bedtime.
And Keia sat on the couch and Tristan sat on the couch. And we got into a heavy game of spades.
Heated.
Heavy game. Heated. And every time he opened that grandpa eye to see if I was still playing, we would all stop because we wanted him to go back to sleep so we could finish the game. Yeah, that was a rousing game of spades. That was probably the longest game of spades I've ever played.
That was ridiculous. You guys were like excessive.
A complete tangent. Once again, always a tangent. So we have a couple things to actually talk about at the kitchen table today.
The first being Pepsi. So we would be totally remiss in not, putting our 2 cents in the global dragging that has come as a result of Pepsi's completely ridiculous, nonsensical,
Tyrese-esque.
Yes, Tyrese-esque, useless, worthless advertisement of their terrible, terrible product, Pepsi, like the actual soda. So I feel like everyone, we've all can agree that it was just a terrible, terrible choice For those of you who may not know, Pepsi made a very, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just bad. Like it was just awful. It like was just really
trash. It was. So did you see the SNL parody?
I didn't.
Oh, it was good.
I'm sure that it was. But
good.
I mean, just imagine if you could just wrap up, if Terrible came in like bite-sized pieces.
Dunkin' Donuts.
If Terrible was like 1,000-piece puzzle, like all the pieces came together for this one commercial. Like that's what it was.
Yeah,
honestly.
It made a complete whole.
Like complete with Kendall Jenner throwing her wig at a black woman and stepping outside to dap up two black men who had just finished a break dancing competition. Like
jigging for change.
Like I mean, oh my word.
So it had every wrong thing possible in it. We were watching it in my meeting today because I work, my day job, I work in advertisement. So we were watching it today in our morning meeting. And it was, we said we were going to make tally marks for every offensive thing that popped up on the screen. And I just got tired. My wrist just gave out on me because the commercial is just that awful.
Like and literally every stereotype ever known to man. Like every race-based stereotype, gender-based, every religious, related to religious affiliations, religious beliefs, everyone.
With the Asian playing the cello.
Hello? Like every stereotype ever demonstrated in one 7-minute commercial. That's what Pepsi did.
Not even, sis. It was not 7 minutes.
Well, it would just felt that long.
It did.
It felt torturous. Like I was just pleading for it to be over.
So,
I mean, the point
we don't
is
even need to recap the entire commercial.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I can find the words.
There are no words for it. It was actually a pretty. Also, the SNL parody was so funny because it was a white man portraying to be like the creator of the commercial, right? And so he is on the phone giving the idea while this commercial, like they are getting ready to actually air this commercial, and he's giving the idea to an exec on the phone. And you can clearly hear that this person is like, okay, this is a bad idea. So then they keep replaying that. And he keeps having another conversation. He's like, put a black lady on the phone. And he was like, so Black Lives Matter. It's going to be great. It's going to be motivation. He was like, don't do it. Okay. But then they had to go ahead and do the commercial. And we saw what happened where Kendall Jenner, again, threw her wig at a slave. And
oh no.
And that was bad. I don't know why they had this black lady there to catch this wig. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I don't know who did casting. I would imagine that it was somebody who was a part of the KKK. Who would say to throw a wig at a black woman? And then you immediately pan to two niggas showtiming on the street.
Step and fetch it.
Step and fetch it. No suits.
I feel like my mother, like how I remember, because, okay, when I was in high school, I played the violin. I'm not ashamed of that, but like people are like often shocked. But I played the violin for like 14 years. And I was pretty good. Like I made all state and all of that. But let me tell you why I ended up with the violin. Because of course, like every other black girl in the school, I wanted to sing in the choir. And my mother was like, they expect us to sing in the choir, Keia. They expect us. They expect us to sing and they expect us to dance. They don't expect you to play the violin. So I think you need to play the violin. Like, it was like a social movement.
Yeah.
And while I did come to love the instrument, while I was, good at it, and I'm excited. I mean, I'm grateful to have had the experience because, it taught me how to read music and it improved my ear and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So it all worked out. But I will say that initially, I felt like my mother watching the commercial because as Kendall Jenner stepped outside and those two boys was dancing, I was just like, look at this.
and then you
and I said,
pretty sweeties come down the street with their natural hair waving in the wind.
Absolutely. And I said, well, what's next? Somebody going to dunk a basketball in a minute or something? My Jesus. I was so upset.
Dap each other up.
I said, did she fist bump these black boys? And like, oh, I was just over it.
And then they laughed. Open
And then it was like, oh my gosh, I love black people. Let me fist bump this black man. Like, oh.
And I love Muslims and Asians who play the cello. It's all good. It was awful. Why do black mothers always dictate the instruments that you play?
I don't know. And I wonder if I'm very much looking forward to motherhood, because I just wonder if I'm going to be that mom. I feel like I will, because no matter what, even though I said when I was younger, I'm never going to be like my mother, I feel like I'm going to be like her times 45 by the time I have a baby.
So, yes, I'm new into motherhood. You know what I'm saying? Noah's only getting ready to be 4. But I do find that there are times that my mother will creep out, and it'll be those little moments where I'm like, oh man, this is when she was acting like a psycho. I should probably not do this. So it allows me to check myself. But then I have moments where I'm like, well, this is why she said this. Okay, this makes sense now. I'm saying this. But I don't think I'm going to dictate the instrument. So I personally wanted to play the drums and the saxophone as a backup. That was what I wanted to play. My mother was always trying to guide me in the direction of what she considered feminine. So she hated that I love sports. She hated my clothes. And she wanted me to not play the saxophone or the drums. And I really honestly think she didn't want me to play the drums because of her nerves. But she had me play the flute.
Her nerves?
Yeah, you hear all of that banging. Like, I don't want to be hearing the drums right now.
My brother played the drums, honey, so it was just loud. we all just dealt with it. Like,
it's so loud, and it's so unnerving. It wears on your nerves.
Does it? Maybe I just grew accustomed to it because it was always just so much noise.
When you come home, just imagine yourself now when you're coming home from work. The last thing you want to hear is...
I'm sure. I mean, I guess.
It's a lot. And then cymbals, it's so much. But I get it. But no, they always dictate. That was another tangent. However.
Yeah, but...
I mean, I appreciate that I played the flute. I wish I would have stuck with it so I could play that Future song.
Girl, I'm going to stop you right there. So, I brought this up so that we could talk about the fact that we all know that the commercial was terrible, but what I think is even more just detestable is that Pepsi has issued a public apology to Kendall Jenner for her role in the commercial. And I am just dumbfounded by that. So I guess the apology says, Pepsi was trying to project a global message of unity, peace, and understanding. Clearly, we missed the mark. We apologize. We are pulling the content and halting any further rollout. We also apologize for putting Kendall Jenner in this position.
Okay.
And I'm just like, yet again.
Well, that wasn't nobody but Chris.
But still, like, I just feel like, why is this billion-dollar global company caping for Kendall Jenner? Like, Kendall signed a contract. Kendall endorsed her check. When they wrote that check, she endorsed it. She sure took it down to the quick check cashing place. She put it in her account. I don't know.
Calabasas check cashing. CCC.
Listen, CCC. She took it down there, and then she took, she got $20 in cash so she can go to the corner store and get some Now and Laters, just like the rest of us.
In a Pepsi.
In a Pepsi when we get our checks. Like, so I'm trying to figure out, how is it that in what world does the company apologize for putting Kendall in a position? Like, Kendall got the script. Kendall she went to the rehearsals and read through, like she sat in on the meetings and she was clear about what the content of the commercial was going to be. No one blindfolded her and rolled her into a room and turned the camera on, and she was completely unaware of what was happening. So I'm just trying to figure out.
You know, she thought this was a good idea. So she signed off on all of this. She was totally 100% comfortable with the creative content. And she just knew this was going to be this groundbreaking, amazing, life-changing commercial. And little did she realize that she was going to be dragged to the middle of the earth for being a part of something that was so distasteful and so offensive and so insensitive and a number of other things. So I have no love and nothing in my heart for Kendall Jenner. You knew what you were doing. You're a grown woman now. You working. You talk about you've been working since you was 11 years old. So you working. You know what you're doing.
Working
you
with the quotation marks working. So, I mean, but we all know Kendall Jenner. We know that she can't be trusted ever since she showed up in them people's church last Easter with her belly out. What? But anyway.
And why Pepsi didn't issue an apology to old boy Marley, the grandchild Marley, who wrote the song for the commercial, which that nigga is held accountable too if he knew what was happening with this. But why y'all didn't issue an apology for him being involved in that?
I just feel like it's like she's an adult, like, or I mean, she's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's grown enough to sign a contract. She's not an infant, and this is not like no one bullied her into doing something like this. So I just think that, well, I mean, and still.
I feel like Chris bullies everybody into everything.
But that's not an excuse. No, if your mama's a bully, then you ought to be used to it. But,
no, she knew what she was doing.
The problem is just like, why apologize to Crystal Jenner? Why not apologize? Crystal Jenner. Why did I say that? What is her name? Kendall.
Crystal.
Well, child, same difference. Anyway, like we apologizing to her. It's like, why not apologize to the protesters? Why not apologize to the movement that the ad is making fun of?
Exactly.
Like, to apologize to her. It further proves that y'all don't care about the movement, and you've missed the mark completely.
And you missed the mark about why you missed the mark.
Exactly. Like, you're completely clueless, and it's just an example of what it is to be white and privileged and to be white and oblivious in this country, that you don't have to pay attention to these kinds of things because they don't affect you.
Nope. And I say it all the time. White people stay throwing out a bomb and looking around trying to act like, oh, who did that? Who caused this big commotion? They love to start something and then walk away from it. And in this and they never understand why people get so upset at their actions or their words or whatever it is that it is at that moment. Like, they never understand why people get so upset because they just don't even try to understand. For you all to issue an apology to Kendall Jenner clearly shows that you do not understand what you did wrong. What you did wrong was belittle and make fun of multiple causes that people are very passionate and feel very deeply about and affect their personal lives in so many different forms of fashion, whether that be Black Lives Matter, whether that be the transgender movement, no matter what it is.
These are issues, right? These are issues of social injustice. Exactly. It's not just like I'm personally offended, but like these are issues that demonstrate the systemic oppression and how things have literally just been screwed up for and have marginalized specific populations of people in this country throughout history. This is not just like, oh, I'm personally offended by this because it's counter to my own personal opinions. Like, we're talking about like grave injustice. Like,
we're talking about
multiple
niggas
levels.
getting killed in the street multiple times all the time. We're talking about trans women getting killed in bathrooms, getting raped. We're talking about people getting sent back to countries where they they came over here and this is where they wanted to be, and you don't send somebody back somewhere. That's not how you do things. They don't do that to Americans when we go to other countries.
Right.
So why are we doing that?
Total violation of rights in this place where everyone who is a citizen here is promised certain rights. And then you just, so I think it was completely, I wanted to talk about it because I feel like we had to address it in some way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, F Pepsi forever. Don't ever drink that stuff. Even though I will probably have. Listen, my house was a Pepsi house. We didn't really mess with Coke.
No.
I don't really drink soda no more because,
I don't either.
I'm just committed to wearing a crop top this summer, and it's just not good for you.
Join you.
But I think, I mean, it's just you can't really come back from this. So
listen, it really pissed me off because I enjoy a cold Pepsi. I don't drink soda either. I actually drink seltzer. Every once in a while, you all will hear me open it while we are recording. But I drink a ton of seltzer
like that
water.
Damn lighter.
What? I don't know. You keep talking about this non-existent soundbite.
Girl.
It's a soundbite.
Girl.
Clearly. It's like a white noise. Nobody hears it but you.
Girl, just let me know. Just let me know when you're going to finish with this lie so we can get back to the show, please. Thank you.
But I'm pissed off because when I would have my Chinese food every now and again, I enjoy a cold Pepsi. I don't know what it is. Maybe that is strange. I don't really care. But I love a cold Pepsi when I eat Chinese food. That is my relation. That is what I enjoy. And you all have ruined it. And now I have to drink Coke.
I'm going to have to go home and to my grandparents' house and explain to them why we cannot bring Pepsi into the home no more. And that's going to be difficult. Because not to say that, my family is not, I just feel like it's going to take some doing. They totally would agree. And we have talked about how Pepsi was dead wrong. But I'm just telling you that Pepsi is also ingrained into the culture and fabric of my upbringing, of my family structure.
And as not going to stop drinking Pepsi.
As a unit. So I feel like it's going to be really difficult. It's going to be a hard sell for me to get my grandfather to stop buying Pepsi.
It's hard. Like people try to shame me for eating Chick-fil-A.
Oh, honey, they're going to be so mad when they get to heaven and realize that those wonderful chicken strips are served in glory.
They are like in golden chafing dishes. I don't understand. My boss is one. He tries to make me feel bad about eating Chick-fil-A, and I said, "You're not going to ever succeed."
Listen. I'm not here to debate certain things. I'm here for this chicken. That's all. That's really it.
I'm not concerned with your Mormon homophobic, racist.
I do think that it's unfortunate, but I also think that this chicken is delicious.
Right. So. Like whatever, they can go wherever. They can go to an island because now we have the recipe. I just make sure that this establishment stays up and running. I don't care what happens to the family. I just want the chicken.
I don't know. We've got to do better. We have to do better. I think that, we all need to be aware of Pepsi products and govern ourselves accordingly because, we have to, realize we can do things to send Pepsi a message, just like we can do things to send other corporations a message that do terrible things. So
absolutely.
We should keep that in mind in the future. F Pepsi forever, since they want to apologize to Kendall Jenner. And since they're so dense that they don't even see or really understand the severity of their of offense that they have
bestowed.
Like it's just I can't even find my words. The severity. It's just that severe. It's grave. It's just
about the bullshit that they like. That's really what it is.
Mm-hmm. All those things. But yes, speaking of injustice, the next thing we're going to talk about at the kitchen table this week is the fact that women still don't make as much as our male counterparts.
No.
In just about every industry in just about every state. So last week on April 4th, 2017 was Equal Pay Day in the United States. Yep. And Equal Pay Day is a day that was established in dedication to raising awareness about the existing gender pay gap in this country. It's set to symbolize when women's pay earnings catch up to men's earnings. So how far into the current year women must work to earn what men earned in the previous year. So that for this year, the date was April 4th. Because according to the Institute of Women's Policy Research in 2015, female full-time year-round workers made only 80 cents for every dollar earned by men. So there's a gender wage gap of 20%. And if the change continues at the same slow pace as it has done for the past 50 years, it will take 44 years until 2059 for women to finally reach pay parity. For women of color, the rate of change is even slower. So Black women will have to wait until 2124, and Hispanic women will have to wait until 2248. So, this is like a real thing.
It is.
And it's hard to believe that, in this day and age, we still have to contend with this. I read an article in Essence Magazine this week that really very nicely laid out, that this is an issue that affects every industry in every state, with, women making as low as 45 and 50 cents to the dollar, in certain states. And it's just like, what? Like, I wanted to bring it up, because I feel like it's important for us to be aware of these things so that we can, make choices, that are going to be best for us as we navigate our lives and careers. So like, given this information, what do you think there are some of the things that we can do as women to, make some sort of change or impact in this, or even change it? Not even on a national level, but how can I, knowing this information, what are some things that I can do to kind of improve on my own situation?
Right. So if you're going to speak on an individual basis, what I think is that, you can't, the thing about it is that you don't know what other people are making, right? You don't go into a job and say, okay, what's your salary? All right, I want to make sure that I get that or higher. Like, that's just not realistic. Right. But what you can do, like some of the small things that, not small, but big things that you can do that can help to help your situation. God, I can't get my words out. Just a side note, we record really late at night, so we're always
after
tired.
Work.
Not even directly after work, like after the evening is done,
right?
Is when we record. So bear with us. But when you go into a job, first of all, you want to make sure that you do your research as to what a proper salary would be for that position. So you make sure you do your research first and foremost. Make sure that you are negotiating your salary to something that you feel is fair. Compensation for what your duties and your role will be.
Right.
Always want to make sure.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good. Go ahead.
There are lots of websites, lots of information available in print and online that, will help you to determine what a fair salary is for just about any position there. I know that there's a website called Glass Ceiling. And I know that there are others. I think that that's the one that just came to me.
It's Glassdoor as well.
Is it Glassdoor? It might be.
Oh, man, if we're talking about the same one.
I think it is Glassdoor. And why did I say Glass Ceiling?
Because it's the same shit.
Bear with us, y'all. We're going to be all right. One day we're gonna actually have ourselves together. Yes. Glassdoor. That's the one. Not Glass Ceiling. So you can search your actual job or profession and find comparable salaries so that you can be aware and not just take the first thing that you're offered. I can speak to this, especially after graduating. I got a real light. Y'all hear that lighter? Did I make that up?
Hear anything.
Oh, okay.
I heard that.
Okay, please. Anyway, right after graduating, I got offered a job, and the salary was not what I was expecting. And I was nervous and found myself with a lot of stress and anxiety because I needed a job. So it was like, do I tell them that, like, I need more money, or do I just take this job? Because where I come from, when somebody gives you something, you say thank you. You don't say this is not enough. But I was really nervous about it, and I did not want to make this decision, by myself, because I knew that there were people around me who were in a position to help me. So everyone I asked was just like, you have to negotiate. And I was afraid to do it because I thought that they would be like, oh, no, girl, never mind, and just hire somebody else. But there is a lot of information out there. There are steps that you can take to learn how to counter offer. And that's what I did. And I was able to present that to the hiring manager, and we were able to negotiate some other things in order to get me closer to where I wanted to be. And it was kind of a life-changing experience for me, because I had never, at that point I was 33 years old. And I had never, ever, ever negotiated a salary. And I was embarrassed to say that at first, but I realized that I wasn't alone. When I started, digging and doing research, there are great books out there that and great resources that will really kind of school you and help you to make the right choices. So like Jay was saying, it's really important to do your research and just be as informed as possible, when you're going in to job opportunities, and not being afraid to negotiate salary and ask for what you need. Another quick story, Lovey, shout out to Lovey. I think is it Ajayi? Anyway, New York Times bestselling author of I'm Judging You. I was friends with her on Facebook, was on her Facebook page. And she was talking about the importance of negotiating salary. She said she was talking to one of her friends who was hiring, I guess, in management, and was looking to hire someone, made an offer to a very talented African-American woman, and gave her a starting salary, and she just accepted it. And she was like, she had $15,000 more to give her, and she would have given it to her if she would have just asked. But she didn't. So she lost out on $15,000 more per year, which is significant. I don't know. Lord. It might not be for you, but that is significant for me. So ladies, please, if you are starting a job, or even sometimes those of you who go up for, your performance reviews, there may be some, room or opportunity for you to, negotiate your salary, or negotiate your pay raise. So if you have not considered doing that, please do that, especially if you are doing your thing at your job. Don't be out there talking about Jade and Keia said do this if you come into work late and not doing what you're supposed to do. But if you know that you are a valuable asset to the company or the organization that you work for, you are well within your rights to ask for them to compensate you at the level to which you are working.
Never be afraid to know what your worth is. Don't go into a job thinking that you have to take whatever they give you. Keia brought out a really good point earlier where she said she was always taught to just kind of take what was offered and say thank you. And I think that's a really good point, because I feel like a lot of people were raised that way. There were a lot of people who were taught to negotiate their salaries, but unfortunately that's a luxury that some of us were not privy to, because we were raised in working families where it's like you need to be happy that you have a job, and you need to be happy if you got a decent job, and you need to be happy if you got a job that was able to pay your bills, and God forbid you get a job that you love, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you really go ahead and take the opportunity that is handed to you. But you need to make sure that you're constantly doing your research. Do your research not only about the salaries, but about the company itself, about the role itself, about the responsibilities that you will be in charge of, and just everything that falls into that position, so that you are getting what you deserve. And a lot of you are out here and you're getting degrees, such as my sis. You're getting your PhDs, you're getting your masters, and it's important that you know that you worked hard for something. You know what I'm saying? And don't think that you just have to fall just because they might choose somebody else. There's a million other positions out there. And another point that I like to bring up, just from like an entrepreneur standship, standship and entrepreneurship. I can't get my words out. Another from standpoint. There we go. God, what is happening right now? What is happening every night? I'm so tired. Just from somebody who is running their own business. You know, I have a catering business in particular. When I pitch for catering jobs and I send out proposals, you know, of course I want to be competitive and I want to make sure that I'm giving the best rate possible, but I don't want to shortchange myself in the long run. And I had to learn that the hard way. There were jobs that I did and I should have charged significantly more for my services. You know what I'm saying? I gave above and beyond, but you also have to pay your dues, and that's something that you have to keep in mind as well. But I have to make sure that when I'm sending out my proposals, I'm not afraid to put my time on there. Like, I cook this food, I have to package this food, I have to go and I have to purchase the ingredients that go with all of these meals. And so therefore I should be compensated for that. And it's not shooting myself in the foot and telling these people, okay, you need to pay me tens of thousands of dollars for what I'm doing right now. But it's making sure that I know what my worth is. I know what my skill level is. And I deserve, as a person who's been working to build their business, to charge what I should be charging. And we don't need to be afraid to do that in those standpoints either. So yeah, I think it's really key that we make sure that we do our research in whatever career that you choose to go, and don't be afraid to speak up and ask for what you're due.
Agreed. Especially since the resources are available to you to do that. Just make sure that you're taking full advantage of all that's out there. And I wanted to say that to say, we're not suggesting that, we know that some of you have been taught and, socialized by your parents, and you have had people around you who have given you this advice. So, we're not saying that, everybody doesn't know just because I didn't know. I'm just saying that, there are people that don't know. So if you know that you know how to negotiate a salary, check in with your sister friends and be like, hey girl, do you know what share the wealth, share the knowledge, because I can speak for the contingent of those of us who are out here, especially those of us who work in industries, like education or social work, nonprofit sectors that are not, comparable to those other people who are working in accounting firms or working in law firms where there's more money generated and salaries are typically higher. I was kind of taught coming out of undergrad that you going into education or you going into certain fields, you kind of get what you get, and you don't really expect to, don't expect this out of this world salary because of the industry that you're in. So I'm just saying that to say, it's all about helping each other. So, if your dad taught you how to negotiate a salary, if your uncle, if your aunt, if your grandmother, your mom, share the wealth and, give some information on Twitter, on your social media, just share the wealth, because there are women out here who don't know. And, because they don't know, they are limiting themselves and limiting their families. And to your point, Jade, about being an entrepreneur in this age of, where the gender wage gap is what it is, and the, situation is all the more dire for women of color, I think it's in our best interest to, we are born hustlers. So now we have to really walk up in it, stand up in that. In addition to my day job, I'm taking on other entrepreneurial, opportunities because, I know that very recently y'all's president revoked Obama protection for female workers, and signed an executive order that eliminated the 2014 Fair Pay and Safe Workplaces order that was established to ensure that companies and corporations and industries who have federal contracts, they have to obey labor and civil rights laws. So y'all's president did away with that. And, so that means that, the buffer, that was in place to help us to address the gender wage gap is now gone. So it would be in our best interest to kind of make sure that we can take care of ourselves. So I'm just have multiple streams of income, whatever talents that you have that you can maximize on and kind of create an, another form of income or revenue in your household. Definitely maximize on those things and take full advantage of those things, get out there and get this money because, we have to, be real intentional about these things because of the age that we are living in. That's I think all I got for Kitchen Table Talk today.
Yeah, that wraps up Kitchen Table Talk. Make sure that you're sending your emails to gettinggrownpodcast@gmail.com. We welcome all questions. We welcome
suggestions for topics.
If you want, if it's your suggestions for Kitchen Table Talk, if there's something that you want to talk about at the kitchen table, all of that. So gettinggrownpodcast@gmail.com. We're getting tons of emails.
Thanks, guys.
Lots of responses, and we really appreciate you all hitting us up and enjoying and interacting with us, because that's really what this is all about. It's all of us trying to get grown. You know what I'm saying? So we have to do that with each other and support one another. So with that being said, we're going to call this segment the Honesty Box. You remember the Honesty Box?
Yes, Facebook's worst feature ever.
Let me ask you something.
I'm so glad they
I don't think they did. I just know I had to take it off my page. I used it one time and I got this one message from someone that was like, you think you are that and you ain't. And I was like, oh my God. I was an adult. I think I'm pretty sure.
I hope that was
so of course I called all my friends and we was trying to figure out who it was. It's probably, I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to think when it was. It had to be, I know that I was out of college and I was out of UConn. So
college.
Cause I didn't get Facebook until, cause I'm old as Jack. So Facebook didn't come around until my first year out of college. I was at UConn when Facebook started for me. Cause it was 2004.
Can you respond back on Honesty Box?
I don't know.
Cause I sure would have been like, you right, and I am.
It was
Have a nice day.
This had to be, this was a long time ago. I'm gonna say it was a smooth 2008, 2009. And, they was just like, oh my God, you walk around like you think you all that. And they said something about my teeth, like your teeth are jacked up or something. And I was just like,
first of all, you have the straightest teeth ever known to man.
I was like, what? Okay, so no, in full disclosure, I had braces as a child. Then my wisdom teeth came in and shifted my teeth. Then I got Invisalign. This was before I got Invisalign. But my teeth were never in my opinion, my teeth were never jacked. They just they were good and then they were not as good and then they got good again. But
your teeth
listen,
are so
somebody
straight.
told me that my teeth was jacked up and I think that I walk around like my stuff don't stink. And I was like, oh. So I took that Honesty Box.
Keia,
yes, I took that thing right off my page. The girl's got something to say.
I've never been interested, but I do remember it. And
it was so shady.
And,
it was so petty.
It was.
So that's why
we're gonna. This is not intended to be shady or petty. However, we're gonna call it the honesty box because if you write in and you have something shady,
or you have a question about a shady or petty situation, or you just have a general question, you may or may not want to disclose who you are, but you can ask. It's a safe space where you can ask your question and receive a response. And, it could be advice if you want it to be, or it could just be, another perspective. Like you could take it and apply it to your life as you see fit. So I think that's, honesty box was fitting for that reason. Cause it could be advice, but it don't really have to be. Yep. So it's just a place where if you have a question, you can ask Jade and myself and we will give you our opinions and perspectives. So we got a question, from a young lady. She did not disclose whether or not she wanted us to share her name. So for the purposes,
it's the honesty box. So you know what? Across the board, we're just gonna keep it anonymous.
Unless you say in the email, it's okay for us to disclose. We will just keep it anonymous, but I will read it at this time. Hi, Keia and Jade. Hey, girl. I hope this email finds you well. I'm a 25-year-old female, and I love you too so much. Bless your heart. We love you too, sis.
Yes.
I'm not going to read this part where she's being very complimentary.
Just read the email.
Don't judge me. That was so judgy. Okay. She said, your podcast is perfect, in all caps. Also, Keia, you have such a cool, raspy voice. Thank you, girl, for appreciating my manly Stanley. Shout out to Miss Gia.
It is not a manly Stanley. You have like this real, it's like a black woman, like, it's like, it's
oh my
just
God.
sensual.
Listen,
and
tangent.
just...
Okay, we should start announcing the tangents because, you know that they're coming. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
When I was in college, this boy told me that I should be a phone sex operator, and I was so offended. I was like, what? I was so excited. I was like, sir, do you know who I am? What? How dare you? I was like, and it was so weird because he'd be like, you sound so sexy on the phone. And I would be like, nigga, I'm talking about Skittles. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, like,
the red one.
I don't like, it just made me so uncomfortable.
Well, that's better than what I've ever gotten. Ain't nobody ever said that to me. I'd wish somebody told me I could be a phone sex operator. The only thing I ever got is how come all light-skinned girls got deep voices?
I was talking to my friend Amber about this. Hey, Ams. Hey, twin. Happy birthday, girl. So she and I are, women of a particular height, and we both have deeper speaking voices. Girl, stop with these lies. You want to be tall so bad, but bless your heart.
But I am.
I'm not hating. Oh, girl, this self-care. Anyway. So we were talking about how we felt like women who are taller, like taller women have deeper voices. So that could just be a theory that we just made up. So if you are a woman of a particular height and you have a manly Stanley as well, send us a tweet and let us know that we're not out here. Us Amazonian women are not out here by ourselves. Anyway, thanks, girl, for thinking that my voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Send us a tweet. Let us know. Join us.
You. Watch your pronouns, sis. Ain't no us. Join myself and all the...
What is the height requirement for this? Because this sounds discriminatory.
For being considered Amazonian, I think Amazonian is 5'9" or better. Yes. I'm 5'9" or better.
Wait, that's like Dustin.
Happy birthday, Dustin. We love you.
We love you.
Anyway.
They said yesterday, Dustin, how old are you?
That's right, honey. You better believe it. We was born the same year, so we're the same age. So on my birthday, I'll be saying the very same thing. How old are you? Old enough. God bless you. Anyway.
Well, I feel like I'm tall enough to be a part of your club. I'm coming anyway.
Anyway, let's just get back to reading this. This young lady said, I have a cool, raspy voice. I thought I sounded like Manly Stanley. Shout out to Miss Gia. I got that from her, Manly Stanley. When she gets up in the morning, she'd be like, I sound like Manly Stanley. And I was like, I sound like Manly Stanley all day long. But anyway, let me get back to reading. So this young lady said that she is a graduate student and she's graduating this May. Ow! The issue is, yes, girl, you made it out. The issue is the main goal of my program is to go off to medical school. Long story short, I bombed it. Oh, however, sorry, I skipped a whole line. Let me just start that over. Oops. She said, I am a graduate student and I'm graduating this May. The issue is the main goal of my program is to go off to medical school after I graduate. However, in order to do this, you have to take and do well on the MCAT. Long story short, I bombed it. And even though I plan to retake it, I can't stop comparing myself to my classmates and beating myself up about it. I'm in a class of 20 at an HBCU, and most, if not all of my classmates have secured admission into medical school. Whenever someone asks me how my application cycle is going or whether I have gotten admissions anywhere or if I've got an interview, I feel extreme anxiety, almost like they can see through and can read all of my insecurities. Every time I think I'm over this failure, all my old feelings arise. How do I learn not to care so much about what people think? I also want to add that I'm the type of person that may give too much power to people and their opinions about me. I struggle with remaining confident and not caring. I would say that this is one of my biggest flaws. Any advice or guidance would help. Thank you and love you guys.
Thank you for writing in and for being a part. Don't beat yourself up. I know that's easier said than done. And at the end of the day, you may listen to what I say and say, well, I still feel like shit. And that's fine. You have to realize that there are so many different types of tests that people have to take upon graduation of whatever. You've got the real estate exams.
Real estate.
That is, what I can't remember what the thing is called. Yeah, when you do real estate, you got to take a test.
Well, anything that you need a license for, you got to take a test. Right.
Anything you need a license for, you have to take a test. And a lot of times people don't pass the first time. A lot of it is nerves. You made your way through. So the test is not an indication as to you being a failure. A lot of people crack under pressure. Some people are not good test takers. And you might have just been stressed. Don't beat yourself up about it and realize that you can't keep comparing yourself to everybody else. I know that is something that you're going to hear all the time, but it's very real. You can't compare yourself to other people. You don't know what their circumstances are. You may have a job. You may have things that you've had to focus on. You may have had nerves. You just feel differently. You're a different type of person than somebody else. And you can't compare yourself to them because they may have passed the test and you didn't. Just get yourself together, figure out how you can de-stress the best way possible, and take some time and take it again.
That's it.
That's it. Just take it until you can't take it no more.
And the beautiful thing is that nobody's going to ask you how many times you had to take it in order to pass after you pass it.
That's it.
And
that's it.
You have to remember and I'm going to offer you this perspective. Nothing is ever wasted. So no experience that we have or we have to face in our lives, especially in school, in graduate school. I'm speaking from personal experience. Nothing is wasted. Mm-hmm. So we learn through successes and we learn through failures. And I can't really believe that I'm going to disclose this online because, on the internet, because, there's stigma, especially when you work in education, there's stigma around failing things or failing tests. But so what? So in my PhD program, you have to take comprehensive exams. So there's 2 rounds. There's your Comp 1 you have to take. In my program, this is not for all PhD programs, but in my specific program, you take a comprehensive exam after your first year, and then you take the next comprehensive exam, right before, after you've written your dissertation proposal. So the first comprehensive exam, it was take home. They give you this massive question and they give you 10 days to answer it in a paper form, and you hand it back in and faculty members read your response and determine whether or not you passed or failed. The first time I sat for comps after year 1, I did not pass it. And I thought I was going to die. Like this is not, and I mean, I'm not, you know, yeah, I know I'm not one to just be out here like tooting my own horn. But all my life, school has been something that I've done relatively well. And I don't want to say I didn't have to try, but it didn't take as much effort for me to do well in school. It just was something that kind of came naturally to me. So this was the first time in my entire academic trajectory, from like kindergarten to this point, where I took a test and failed it and was like, what? Like, so I'm sorry, you said what? Like, it was like, do you know who I am? My name is Keia. No, check that again. That can't be right. So it really, really took all the wind out of my sails for a minute, and it really made me question, like, well, maybe I don't need a PhD. Maybe it wasn't right for me to make to come here. Maybe I should just, go ahead on back to work, and maybe this whole thing isn't for me. But in hindsight, failing comps when I failed it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me, as a student, as a PhD student, because I was able to get the feedback from the test, and I sat down with my reviewers who were really, really understanding, and I was fortunate to have people who, were not mean to me. They were very nice about it. They were very affirming, and they reassured me, and they were able to show me exactly why I did not pass. And it was a matter of, it wasn't that the content of the exam wasn't right. I just was not writing authoritatively. So like when you reach a certain point in your, training as a scholar, it's not like, you write in a paper and just saying, this is what I think, and these are my opinions, but you have to be able to kind of substantiate your argument in a way that, carries a weight behind it that, suggests that you know what you're talking about. And up until that point, my papers were really passive, and it was kind of just like, well, I think that this is what this is saying. And it was an opportunity for me to learn and grow how to write like a scholar. And if I hadn't failed, if I would have just stopped and be like, oh, well, I guess the PhD isn't for me. If I would have just quit my program and got a job and went back to work, then I would have missed out on that opportunity to really grow. And once I was able to get the skill that I needed, like it was a very simple rewrite. I submitted again and I passed, and it wasn't something that deterred or threw me off of my course or my track. It was something that I had to go through and something that I had to experience. So if that's any perspective to you, if that's any use to you, I would say, sit back and think about what it is that you can learn from this particular experience. See if you can think about think about all the things that led up to you taking the MCAT the last time, and try to, figure out what it is that may have caused you to not do as well, and then focus on that and improving that. And I promise you that in doing that, you'll grow. And when you do get your admission into medical school, you'll be the better for it, if that makes sense.
Ooh, amen. Ooh, that was beautiful, sis. That was so nice. And I'm going to end on a confidence note. I'm going to tell you this from a nigga like me. I am not going to medical school. Have never considered it. Have never considered getting a PhD. And so when people ask you how things are going, have you started applying for jobs yet, whatever, and you start to feel anxiety because you think that they're seeing through you, like you said, or, they're seeing your insecurities, I guarantee you 95% of them have not done what you're doing. And I'm hoping that the majority of the people who are asking you are people that care about you. And if it's people that care about you, don't be afraid to say, you know what? I didn't pass my test the first time. But take Keia's advice, see what you can learn from it and how you can do it the next time. And you just say that and be like, you know what? I'm just going to try again. I'm getting some things together so that I can do it again, and then leave it at that. Sometimes you might be in your head a little bit more than you realize, and so take that and realize that most of these people, most of these niggas are not taking.
It's real. And I mean, and then, to Jay's point, a lot of people, when we're students, we have to really be conscious of the fact that most people don't know what we experience as students and can't relate to what we go through. So I know when I was in the dissertation process, I really had to, I don't know if you remember this, Jay, but on my Facebook and, just kind of like in family group chats and family I really put a whole announcement out there and was like, can I have you guys' attention, please? Thank you very much. Don't ask me nothing else. Okay. Don't ask me no questions. I don't know the answers to your questions. I don't know when I'm going to be finished. I'm going to be finished just as soon as I get done. I will let you know when I'm finished. Don't ask me how long it's going to take. Don't ask me nothing. Like, I say that to say questions, we deal with enough pressure being in graduate school and having to take these difficult tests and write these papers and books and all the things that go into our training as graduate students. And don't compound that with asking me every 3 days, so how's it going? It's going just like it was on Tuesday, sis. Like, I promise you. I promise. And I know that you guys just want us to know that you're engaged and you praying. Just say, I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I know that you can do it. But sometimes when y'all continue to bombard people with questions, it makes things worse because it puts more pressure on us. I had to let my family know, don't ask me when graduation is. I will tell you when it is. You will have time to get your house in order so you can come, but just don't ask me no more. And it's okay. So if you need to tell people to stop asking you, when have you gotten your admission? It's like, hey sis, I will make an announcement. I'll wear a t-shirt. I'll buy you a button just as soon as I get in somewhere. Don't ask me no more. It's okay. It's okay for you to say that. Don't feel bad about it. It is your business. This is your process. You have to pay for the MCAT and you have to pay for medical school. Them niggas are not going to open up, what's some things called? No, bad, but what's some, GoFundMes. They not going to start no GoFundMe to buy you a textbook or nothing. So, what you can do is ask them to mind their very, very own business. and it's just as simple as that. Yeah. And you can say it with love of Jesus Christ in your heart. You don't have to be mean about it. You could just be like, hey sis, that's all I got for you. And that's really it.
And that goes across the board with all your business. It is always okay to say, it's none of your business. Don't ask me anything else. We can apply that.
But that's our honesty box question for this episode. We thank the young lady who sent us this question, and we hope that what we said was helpful to you. So like Jay said, go ahead.
Make sure you oh yeah. No, I was just going to say, make sure you send your honesty box questions to Getting Grown Podcast.
GettinGrownPodcast@gmail.com.
And I want to be very responsible of the things I say to my sister. Because everybody know I can be real petty. P-E to the T-T-Y, honey.
Petty peeves time.
Petty peeves.
Gotta figure out, we just keep singing things.
Petty peeves.
Petty. We so petty. We real petty. You can't really. Your neck hurt, my chain heavy. Petty. That's a play on Gucci Mane.
Of course, because all things that come out of your mouth are a play on Gucci.
That's right. I love the Gucci Mane. So this week in petty peeves, I guess I'll go first.
Go for it.
My petty peeves are really, really, really I'm tired. It's starting to get warm outside and niggas are in heat. They come out in droves and they say stupid things, and I'm tired of niggas saying things that they can't possibly think are getting ready to get somebody to pay them any sort of positive attention. So I'm walking down the street today and this nigga comes up and starts walking next to me. Not interested. I have my headphones on. Why do you talk to people when they have their headphones on? And I wear big, giant Sony headphones on top of my head, covering my ears like muffs. In the summertime, I'm sweating. but I thought it protected me from the niggas, but it doesn't. So this nigga comes up to me today and he's like, oh, you made my cell phone go off. You make everything go off. I'm not interested. I just keep walking.
People are still using pickup lines in this day and age.
Oh, wait. So I'm like, I'm acting like I don't hear him. I keep walking. Is it okay? Can I get in touch with you? So finally I take one headphone halfway off of my ear and I said, I'm married. Married to the game.
Sir.
That's my petty peeve. Because I am. And you think that I'm going to just fall and give you my phone number and we're going to live happily in love. Me and 4 of your kids.
My petty peeve is for the women who respond to these kinds of things. Because you are the reason why people say this nonsense.
It's the same women who listen to Tyrese. So, lost cause.
Oh, I just want y'all to do better.
Please don't give these niggas the power. Don't give them the okay to continue to say these awful things to women as they walk down the street.
What woman is going to be like?
Yeah, I'm married to the game.
Married to the game.
You're absolutely right. I'm the plug. What you want? Like, how do you think I'm getting ready to come back with a response to that?
Like, what is your... You didn't think this through.
And I hate to Yandy Smith the world and like throw up my ring finger for everything, but if you continue to talk to me...
When you the wife,
that life of a wife, don't holler at me.
I secure the bag.
I'm your nigga, you're my bitch. So,
oh my God.
That's what she was singing in that video. So I don't want to Yandy Smith you, but like if I tell you,
singing quotes,
right, mouthing. If I tell you that I'm married, that means stop talking to me, nigga. Leave me alone. I'm not interested in anything else that you have to say. And no, we cannot be friends.
I don't need any more friends. I'm not even married. I don't need any more friends. I'm all tapped out on the friends department. God bless you.
The friend zone is closed.
That's it.
Sir, you want the friend zone? Go listen to Loudspeakers Network. It ain't here.
It's like, what?
So that's my petty peeve. Niggas who still use pickup lines and who use pickup lines that they can't possibly think that are getting ready to attract a woman. And if they are, then, again, they're the type of women that listen to Tyrese, and probably both of you niggas are lost. What's your petty peeve, sis?
My petty peeve I'm sharing with one of our wonderful listeners who wrote in and shared her petty peeve, and it just resonated with me. So, like, and it really struck a chord. So I decided that I was going to read her petty peeve and expound on it, you know, because I too, this is a petty peeve that she and I share. So shout out to a Miss Joy Johnson, Joy Ashley Johnson. I hope that it's okay to say your name, sis. Jaj. Yeah. So I'm going to read her petty peeve. The subject line on the email is, who made the greens? Woo, this is my kind of carrying on. I'm excited. Okay. First off, thank you for being such great vessels. Y'all are amazing and your platform is awesome. Thank you, Josh. We love you, sis. If you're anything like myself, you hate the corporate potluck. My God, today.
Gosh.
She said, having to pay out of what little paycheck you receive. To have to feed a bunch of adults burns me up. Potlucks are disgusting. Literally a cesspool of germs, seen and unseen. I work in corporate America where hand sanitizer seems to take place of a good scrub with soap and hot water all too often. Girl.
That's not even petty.
Girl.
That's not petty.
Preach.
That's not petty.
Okay.
Please. That is a word. So,
ain't it?
Hand sanitizer is great, but it does not replace soap.
It will never substitute for soap and hot water. I say hot water because y'all... Listen, stop being childish and washing your hands in cold water because you need to let the dirt know that you mean business. And the temperature of your water is going to tell the dirt, oh, we got to get the hell out of here. That's what. Listen, Stop washing your hands in cold water.
And your dishes.
Oh, please. If you're washing your dishes in cold water, you're running the risk of contracting some sort of disease. You're not serious about your life, and I want you to do better. Come on. Anyway, I digress. As much of a joy free food is, believe me, as a college student, it definitely doesn't go unappreciated. Oh, she's in college. Precious heart. If it's one thing I cannot partake in, is homemade food made by people I partially like. Girl, say it again. She said, my mother said, you can't trust everyone's kitchen. Listen, right. I need that printed on a canvas tote and a t-shirt.
Or one of them knitted things that people hang up in their kitchens.
I will wear it on a button on my jean jacket.
Gia, make a shirt.
On yourblackness.com. She said, you can't trust everyone's kitchen, and those words have stuck with me for as long as I can remember. So in regards to the dreaded potluck, I hope that that those that hear this will remember that store-bought food is really the safest and preferred way to go. Don't practice your Pinterest recipe on the masses. We don't want it. I said, girl, ooh, isn't this good? This is so good.
So good. Nobody wants your sad Halloween cupcakes.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants your safflower seed cookies. Nobody wants that.
Your gluten-free lemon bars. Nobody wants you to bring that.
We don't want that. We don't. Number 2, don't bring your chocolate chip cookies in your spaghetti stained Tupperware. If you got spaghetti stained Tupperware, don't put nothing in it but spaghetti. That's your spaghetti Tupperware from now on.
No. Okay, so this show is about advice, right? Tangent.
Go for it. Okay. Announcements.
You can wash the spaghetti stains out of your Tupperware. It goes along with properly washing your dishes. There's
hot water.
There's a few things that I'd like you all to stock your kitchen up with. SOS pads, also called Brillo pads. They come in copious flavor. They come in lemon. They come in lavender now. There's so many different flavors. SOS or Brillo pads. A sponge. A pack of them because you need to replace it. And some steel wool. I know that's very old school, but I keep it just in case the cast iron gets gritty. So keep those things, some soap and some really hot water, and get yourself some kitchen gloves if you can't handle the hot water. And that's why you continue to wash your dishes as if you work at the spoon, the greasy spoon. So stock your kitchen with those things. Take your Tupperware. Soak it. I always put like a half a cap of bleach. Maybe people don't agree with that, especially some of these new millennials, but it works. Put a little bit of that in some soap. Let it soak with some hot water. Then take your Brillo pad and scrub your Tupperware out. I guarantee you those spaghetti stains will disappear. You might have to wash it a few times, but you can get the grease out of your Tupperware. And by all means, if you're too lazy to get the grease out of your Tupperware, then stop bringing your cookies with cat hair in your spaghetti stained Tupperware, just like the young lady said.
Also, as another brief aside, I have read that you should not warm up things like spaghetti in Tupperware.
No.
Or you should just invest in some glass.
Pyrex,
Tupperware,
yep.
Or Pyrex or something. Because the reason why, like there's, I can't find the article or remember exactly what it said, but the stains suggest that, the plastic, it's just, there's certain things that we shouldn't warm up in plastic in the microwave. So word to the wise, invest in, you can go down to the Marshalls or the Home Goods, honey, get you a set of Pyrex Tupperware for the low.
$20.
All right.
You can walk away healthy.
Or less.
Right. Or Amazon if you girls are really into these apps. And I heat my food up in the oven or on top of the stove personally, but that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, I don't even own a microwave, but we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Let me just finish. Don't bring your chocolate chip cookies in your spaghetti stained Tupperware. Just go on down to the nearest grocery store and pick up some tortilla chips and salsa.
Say a word.
I mean, also, please use utensils when serving yourself. I've seen too many grown folks reach their nasty hands into containers and bags of chips, rooting around with all sorts of germs for the next person to chew on. Gross. Working in an office setting, I already have to sacrifice my space externally. The last thing we need is to digest your favorite recipes covered in the hair of whatever pet you may have at home. Now that right there. Okay, I have another story. Yes. This was my first job ever. Well, not my first job ever, but my first job after when I left UConn and I got a on campus, like administrative position on campus. My department had like a Christmas potluck, and one of the counselors in the division cut his finger on, like he had a paper cut. He had a Band-Aid on his thumb. We was at the potluck, and that baby reached there was a ladle in the punch bowl. And when I tell you that Band-Aid went into that punch.
Oh no.
And I just couldn't find my words, but I audibly gasped. Like, it was like, and everyone was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I was like, I just have to go. I just can't stay. Oh my God.
I would have screamed it like bomb. I would have been like, they made it in the punch bowl.
I was so flustered. And his boss, who was like my mentor at the job, like when I got hired, like you got a mentor in the department, like the next person up from you, not your, like someone who was on the same employment level as your supervisor, but wasn't your direct supervisor. So I was assistant director in my program. She was the director of another program. She kind of like saw that I was visibly shaken because I wanted to yell at him, but I was like, it was literally like, I had only been there for like three weeks and I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. So,
you screamed Band-Aid at the
she like ran after me and was like, she was like, Keia, what's wrong? I was like, Jonathan put his Band-Aid in the punch and I just like we can't drink the punch. Don't let anybody drink the punch. She was just like, it's okay. Like, I was just like, I was traumatized. Like, Jonathan put his Band-Aid in the punch. I was so concerned.
Do you know why you were really traumatized? Because you knew in your mental, like in your back mentals, you knew that if you hadn't seen that nigga would have taken that Band-Aid out and just gone on about his merry way.
I was like, I couldn't. My heart was beating so fast.
My heart is beating fast now.
Experience.
Thinking about
it. But yes. Oh. Josh, you had did that, sis, because girl, you had hit the nail on the head with all of these good pearls of wisdom that that's why I had to read it.
That was a word. On my other show, Jade and XD, we talked about this person who brought blueberry mac and cheese to a company potluck.
Good night.
So that's why you shouldn't eat potluck food.
Irene.
Yeah. Well, that's our petty peeves, and that's our third episode of Hey Sis. And that's
Ain't
the
it
bus.
Good? So listen. Oh, that's the bus. Because Brooklyn, every time. We have more petty peeves, and I'm thinking we have to think about this. But we have so many petty peeves that maybe we'll have just like a petty day, like a petty episode, and we'll just have like an all petty peeves episode.
I'm down.
Let us know if that's something. Let us know if that's something you want us to do, because we have tons and tons of petty peeves, but we love them. So please keep them coming. And you can send them to Gettin Grown Podcast, GettinGrwn podcast at gmail.com.
You said GRWON. Grown.
GRWO. Oh, sorry. GROWN. I'm sorry. GettinGrOWN podcast. I promise. Listen. I got degrees. Tired. It's just late at night.
You got way more degrees than I could ever even have dreams about. Like, we should switch.
But I still can't get the typo demon off my back. I'm rebuking the typo demon every day. Right. See? Whew, but yeah. You still know way more than me in your sleep. Girl, rest yourself. Anyway, I also would like to share a praise report. We have a praise report I just saw in the email inbox. We got a praise report from Lori from Nashville, Tennessee. Why? I got all my families in Nashville. It says, Dear Keia, you don't know how much I appreciated you giving the advice on taking a closer look at my bills. Sprint charged me an extra $200 in error after someone had fraudulently charged a new phone on my account. I almost paid it, but God said, daughter, listen to Sister Keia and read your bill. And then she spoke in tongues. She said, listen,
oh, that's how you said that?
No. I don't know. That's unknown tongues. That's her tongues. My tongues are different. So I don't know. I would just receive her tongues as the praise to the Lord because he is worthy. Because let me tell you who I would have had to stab if I would have $200.
200 bones.
Sprint tried.
They sure did.
Lori, I'm so glad that you read your bill. See, ladies and gentlemen, you must read your bills. The people be out here trying to play you and come for your coins. We don't have time for that.
See, we just be trying to get grown. We just trying to share the wealth with y'all.
Listen, Lori, I'm so glad that you shared that. Read your bills. I'm about to go read mine now. So listen, we're going to go.
No.
Thank y'all for listening.
Catch us next week for episode 4 of Getting Grown. Make sure that you like us. Make sure that you rate us 5 stars and subscribe on SoundCloud, on Spotify, on iTunes, on every platform that you possibly can. Getting Grown. Make sure let's grow together so that we can continue to scrape up these gems out here and share them with one another. It's like fishes and loaves, niggas. Fishes and loaves.
You so deep and hoteppy. It's time for you to go to bed.
I know. It's like catfish and white bread. It just keeps multiplying. Every week I want catfish. Bye. Oh, wait. No.
Look at you.
So, yes, make sure that you like us, rate us, subscribe to us.
We love you guys.
Write in to we love you guys. And make sure that you moisturize and drink your water because
your black will crack if it's dry.
Bye.
Bye.